Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2017 Dakota Wesleyan University Legacy Banquet. Please welcome your hostess for this evening's festivities, Dr. Alicia Vincent, the Executive Director of the Dakota Wesleyan University McGovern Center.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us here tonight for our annual Legacy Banquet. We have much to celebrate and many people to thank. Dakota Wesleyan University kicked off another school year in late August, and with it we welcomed a record 918 students. That's the largest student body in university history. Our students know what many of you know. There is no experience quite like the Wesleyan experience. We continue to be recognized by such authorities like U.S. News and World Report, Forbes magazine, the President's Honor Roll for Community Service, and we are also a military-friendly school, again in 2017. None of our rankings, capital improvements, or enrollment successes would be possible without you. So tonight we say thank you for having the confidence to partner with us to make a difference on campus and in the lives of our students. The Legacy Banquet serves as the kickoff of our annual Blue and White Days. I know many of you in the audience tonight have traveled back to be part of your class reunions, and we extend a special welcome home to all of you. Now please help me welcome our campus pastor, Reverend Eric Van Meter, to offer this evening's invocation.
Will you pray with me? God, as we gather to celebrate, we are mindful of those, both near and far, that are hurting or in harm's way, that are in doubt or without. We pray that, as is the heritage of this school, that you would open our eyes to our neighbors and our hands to help them. We pray that in these moments you would open our hearts to the friends that have gathered here in this room, that you would bless us in our company, in our conversation, in our shared mission, and that you would bless this food to us and us to your service. We pray this together in Jesus' name. Amen.
Bon appetit. Welcome back, everyone. Please feel free to continue to enjoy your meal while we continue this evening's program. So many individuals and groups are vital to the success of this university. I would ask those groups to stand, and everyone, as they stand, please hold your applause until all groups have been recognized. First to stand is our Board of Trustees. These individuals choose to invest in and guide the university, and we are grateful for your commitment. If you are a current or past board member, please stand. I'd also like to ask all of our faculty and staff to stand. We call ourselves a family because those who work here take a sincere interest in the success of our students and in each other. This is a great group to be a part of. And every large event needs a team, and tonight is no exception. Please join me in thanking Aramark staff for the delicious dinner, our physical plant and IT crew for their work tonight and throughout this entire weekend, and a special thanks to our servers for tonight, members of Dakota Wesleyan's softball and soccer teams. And finally, the reason we are all here, we want to thank our Dakota Wesleyan students. Please, students, stand so we can also recognize you. One of the reasons I love working at Dakota Wesleyan is that every day we have the opportunity to interact with remarkable students. One such student is Sierra Schneider from Sioux Falls. Cece is a senior, and she serves as president of the Student Senate, as well as president of our McGovern Engagement Group. She is very involved on campus and truly models the Wesleyan motto, sacrifice or service. It has been a joy to watch Cece transform over the last 4 years, and in doing so, make a significant impact in organizations and the lives of so many in our region and around our world. I'm looking forward to traveling to Uganda with Cece this November. I'm gonna miss her when she moves on in May to bigger and better things, and it's been my sincere pleasure to serve as her advisor for these last 4 years.
Thank you, Dr. Vincent. As a senior here, I've spent a lot of time thinking about what's next. Am I going to do grad school? Am I going to land a job in Sioux Falls, New York, or somewhere around this big world? And I'll admit, I'm kind of nervous thinking about what's going to be next. I feel like I have a lot of shoes to fill and expectations to succeed, but I've enjoyed the reflection of my last few years here at Dakota Wesleyan. I happened at DWU by chance, or kind of fate, if you will. I was a senior in high school, didn't really know where I wanted to go. My goal was to continue my soccer career. I would have gone anywhere that was going to give me playtime, didn't have a declared major. And thankfully, DWU had a starter position for me as a freshman. I was signed somewhere else, wasn't going to play a lot there, so I decided to come here, take it a chance, figured I'd leave after a year. Well, yeah, it's 3 years later, and I can't imagine graduating anywhere else. I'm really proud to call myself a Tiger. And I've tried to figure out, why did Dakota Wesleyan keep me? I was here with the complete intent to leave. And it was a lot of friendships, memories, and opportunities that would have been hard to leave, but I also kind of realized that this institution mirrored what I wanted to become as an individual. They have these 4 pillars of learning, leadership, faith, and service. And my sophomore year, I would not have been able to tell you these 4 pillars. But coming into my junior year, I was a lot more intentional, because underclassmen, I learned that our clubs, we run ourselves under service, and how can we help those in our community. Our classroom was challenging us to learn, but how can we apply it to the 21st century that we live in? And athletics was the start of my leadership opportunities on campus, and it was fantastic. And then my junior year, I really began to ask myself, like, how can I live this on a day-to-day basis? And Dr. Vincent and the McGovern Center really sparked that. She connected me with the Global Child Nutrition Foundation and set me up with a life-changing internship. They set up and they create and foster relationships between governments and non-governmental organizations and the World Food Program, and try to come together and strategize developing solutions to end hunger around the world and facilitate group leaders. And they challenged me to not only contemplate what does it mean to run a nonprofit and how to govern one, but also how do you create ethical, sustainable, and long-lasting international development? And it really challenged me to think, what is a mission trip? Is it a 2-week stay? How do you ensure that that impact lasts so much longer than we do? And after I came back from this internship and this summer where I was the only person I knew in Seattle, I really had to grow. And then, kind of since then, everything has fallen into place. Dakota Wesleyan was taking a team of students to Uganda that Christmas break. One of the projects that they chose to do was a school garden project. I've always loved gardening. I've been doing it since I was a little kid, and I'm glad that I was finally able to take those skills abroad with some of the skills that I learned in my internship. And I only had a couple of the requirements. Honestly, growing up, my garden was measured by the handfuls. And now I'm trying to calculate yields in a country that I've never been to, and I'm a city slicker, if anybody knows me. But they were patient, and it took a whole team of us, and through research conducted by Esther, a native Ugandan, we isolated 2 schools where they had the most need, but also the most potential to succeed with a school garden project. And in those 2 schools, there's approximately 400 students and about 3 acres of land to try to feed all of these students. And we set a big goal that we want to feed all 400 of these students a well-balanced meal 5 days a week. We're not quite there yet, but in order to achieve this meal objective, we knew we wanted maize, beans, amaranth, orange flesh sweet potatoes, mangoes, and avocado. And now that we knew what we wanted to grow, we had to try to make the most of the land that we had. And we used a variety of techniques, some traditional gardening, some vertical gardening, so we have layers upon layers of soil on top of each other to try to grow up, just the same way we build apartments and skyscrapers. And then we also did hydroponics, gardening without soil. So they're able to produce about 3 times faster than traditional gardening techniques. And using this variety, we're able to plant and grow. We're currently only feeding about 1 to 3 meals a week, but it's 1 to 3 closer to our goal of 5 for those 400 students. And currently, the students and teachers are tending to the garden. Incorporated in their classroom is the water cycle, photosynthesis, farming practices that they can take home and hopefully inspire future generations of farmers. And thankfully, we have a lot of volunteer support where parents are piecemeal harvesting and they're cooking the food to feed the individuals. And I'm eternally grateful for this trip this Thanksgiving with Dr. Vincent. I started working on this project last September. I was not able to go when they went in December. And so I think this trip will get to be a really heartwarming experience where I've only heard the stories. I've seen pictures, I've watched videos, but I think I'll get a strong sense of closure for this project. And it'll end one chapter, a major chapter, of my Dakota Wesleyan experience. I came in an athlete, and pretty soon I'm going to be leaving as a whole person. And I'm eternally grateful for everything Dakota Wesleyan has ever given me. And thanks to all of you around this room, I've had an exceptional experience here at DWU, and I kind of hope you get as much out of this relationship as I have, because I'll never be able to repay it.
Thank you, Cece. Senator McGovern cared a lot about school feeding programs, and I'm sure he'd be incredibly proud of the work that you've done and are continuing to do. Just 4 years ago, shortly after she took office as Dakota Wesleyan's 20th president, Dr. Amy Novak kicked off a 7-year, $40 million campaign called A Greater Wesleyan. It was the largest, most ambitious campaign in the university's history, and it was focused on our students, their learning environment, endowment to support scholarships and experiences, and academic excellence through the support of faculty and community partnerships. Please direct your attention to the screens to learn more about the impact of the Greater Wesleyan campaign.
In October of 2013, Dakota Wesleyan University launched a 7-year, $40 million campaign to strengthen the student experience. It was the largest, most ambitious campaign in the university's history. Today, 3 years ahead of schedule, we are proud to announce that we have secured a Greater Wesleyan. Over $19 million has been committed to improving the learning environment. Where traditional stacks once stood, innovation labs now provide a robust learning environment. Where track athletes once ran, the athletic department welcomes prospective students. A welcome center showcasing our rich history that celebrates the entrepreneurial spirit, our commitment to faith, and how we embrace diversity. Over $15.5 million was raised to support student scholarship and student learning, ensuring greater access and affordability to a DWU education, expanding scholarships for international service learning and mission work, exposing students to nationally recognized undergraduate research opportunities on and off campus, unprecedented increases in support for the Team Makers program, ensuring competitive teams, national tournament appearances, and most importantly, character development. Nearly $5 million was raised to support academic excellence. For endowed chairs in the Kelly Center for Entrepreneurship, where over 150 students have launched their own businesses. A renaissance of the performing arts. A partnership with Avera Health, ensuring hands-on learning, and a strength and conditioning coach promoting injury prevention. Over 200 nurses and certified nursing assistants trained to work in rural communities. 5,200 gifts to build a Greater Wesleyan. 100% of the faculty and staff participated, yielding record milestones for Dakota Wesleyan. The largest overall enrollment in DWU history. Recognition for a best value campus. 90% acceptance rate into allied health professional schools. 100% pass rates. 100% placement rates. Over 95% placement into law schools and into jobs. From the Minnesota Timberwolves to Target Corporation, from the FBI to medical mission work. Your help created a new student orientation focused on learning, leadership, faith, and service. A new campus serving adult learners in Sioux Falls. Graduate programs in education, an MBA, and degree completion programs in nursing and business. A United Methodist Church plant on campus, bringing together the community, students, staff, and faculty to experience a new kind of worship. A university focused on faith and service. Thank you for $41.5 million towards creating a Greater Wesleyan, toward building well-educated, ethically grounded, faith-inspired leaders. And now we take this momentum to the next step. Forward Wesleyan.
Welcome, President Amy Novak.
So I'll admit that 4 short years ago, I might have been a bit naive to think that we could do what we accomplished. But in retrospect, I am so deeply proud of what this campaign symbolized and the commitment so many of you made to make it possible. In an early conversation I had with Paul Christen, I said, "Paul, I think we can raise 50 million. He said, "Amy, we haven't raised 10 million. Are you sure that's even realistic?" He called me back about a week later and he said, "How about 40? I said, "We'll give it a shot." Today, I want to recognize several individuals whose campaign chairmanship of this process made the success of this campaign possible. Two couples in particular have been instrumental. Would Glenda and Fritz Corrigan and Paul and Muffy Christen please stand? The leadership giving of these couples allowed us to make an unprecedented attempt at building a greater Wesleyan that quickly became a reality. Both of them supported the Corrigan Health Sciences Center, named after Glenda Corrigan, an alum, and the College of Healthcare Fitness and Sciences, named after Donna Starr Christen, also an alum. And then within several short years, they repeated very significant gifts to the new DWU Avera Sport and Wellness Complex. That leadership inspired many, many more. And I'm always reminded that while big gifts are important and they provide the impetus for us to grow and encourage others, I am also deeply inspired by the young people, by all of you who made a commitment to a vision to build a greater Wesleyan. There were those of you who gave $100, and there were those of you who gave thousands of dollars, all in an attempt to focus the experience here on our students, developing ethically grounded, faith-inspired, personally responsible leaders for the next generation. As I canvass the country today, I remain incredibly hopeful. You may not hear that often, but I am. And the privilege of working here is to see young people who come here often lacking the self-confidence or hope, who come from first-generation families, the first in their family to attend college, who may come from low-income backgrounds. In fact, 45% of our students do come from those backgrounds. They're nervous, they're anxious, but they find a place that is family and that's deeply committed to their success. Friends, what we celebrate here tonight is only the start of a much greater vision for Wesleyan going forward. This momentum can't stop. With 37% more students here, it only takes us more to continue to be able to deliver what we see as a profoundly transformative education. You heard Cece talk about the international experiences, the opportunities to engage in civic dialogue with the McGovern Engagement Group, the relationship she builds with an advisor. That is transforming. That is building the next generation, filled with hope and promise to be the problem solvers for a world that often feels a little bit cynical or a little bit struggling or a little bit in despair. They are hope, and your investment in our students is an investment in a future that will yield incredibly promising returns in our local communities and in our world. So thank you, and we will together forward a new vision, a bolder vision of learning, leadership, faith, and service for our future.
At Dakota Wesleyan, most full-time students receive some type of financial aid, and much of that aid is in the form of scholarships. Scholarships established by alumni and friends just like you. Dakota Wesleyan offers the opportunity to endow a scholarship with gifts of $25,000 or more. This year, we are pleased to announce the establishment of 5 new scholarships or special student funds. 2 of these scholarships have representatives here this evening. I invite Kitty Allen and President Novak to the front of the stage to honor these families.
Thank you, Alicia. I want to invite Christy Martin and Jeff Kroll. Would you please join President Novak at the front of the stage? The Janet R. Martin Endowed Scholarship was established by Christy Martin and Cindy Martin Kroll of Mitchell in honor of their mother's pursuit of a college degree as a non-traditional student at the age of 34. Christy and Cindy honor their mother's tenacity, as well as the tenacity of all who take on the challenge of continuing their education as adult learners. This scholarship is awarded to a degree-seeking, non-traditional student. Thank you, Christy and Jeff, for being with us tonight. A very special thank you to all of the people and all the families that are represented here tonight, and to all of you who financially support endowed scholarships. At this time, I'm going to invite Jory Hansen. Jory is a Director of Development and a 2007 Dakota Wesleyan graduate, to the stage.
Last year, we established the President's Circle, an exclusive group of donors who contribute at least $1,000 annually to DWU funds, the Wesleyan Fund, Team Acres, the McGovern Center, athletic sponsorships, endowed scholarships, and capital or departmental funds. President's Circle members provide the foundational support for sustaining the university and building our platform for excellence. I'm pleased to announce we have 342 charter members. A complete list of all President's Circle members is listed in your program. I invite all members of the President's Circle to stand and be recognized at this time. An important part of the President's Circle is the John Wesley Society. John Wesley Society members commit at least $1,000 per year to the annual scholarship fund. This year, 30 new $1,000 gifts received last year were matched from a generous gift from John and Luann Clark of Mitchell. Will all new John Wesley Society members please stand? This year, we are excited to announce the renewal of this matching gift challenge for one final year. All new $1,000 Wesleyan Fund gifts in the 2017-2018 academic and fiscal year will be matched. If you are considering a gift to the Wesleyan Fund, you still have the opportunity to double your impact for student scholarships. We're so grateful for John and Luann Clark and their faithful and generous support of annual giving at Dakota Wesleyan.
Well, athletics have long been a really important part of the Wesleyan experience for so many of our student athletes. Please help me tonight welcome former student athlete himself and current Director of Athletics, John Hart.
Well, thanks, Alicia, and good evening, everyone. The impact of our athletic teams is felt not just on campus, but throughout the Mitchell community. Our student athletes run youth camps, work in local businesses, and become part of the community while they are here. The support for DWU athletics is at an all-time high because it's apparent that we have some great things going on here. And I'm not just talking about the wins and losses, because if we focus only on those two columns, we aren't doing our jobs. Our coaches are committed to developing youth, young men, and women of character, whether they're in uniform or in the classroom. I'm proud to share with you that our cumulative GPAs for our teams this last year was at a 3.31 on a 4.0 scale. This outstanding academic record, in addition to our high rankings in character, conduct, awards, and community service, earned Dakota Wesleyan the designation as a 5-star Champions of Character institution by the NAIA. We were one of only 14 schools in the country with a perfect score in these areas, including being the only GPAC school with a perfect score. And all of these things lead to gift levels. All of these things lead to record-breaking gift levels for our athletics and for the school in general. That support makes a difference to our programs and to our student athletes. So on behalf of our coaches and our athletic administration and our student athletes, thank you for your continued support and generosity.
I love being a Tiger. I'm raising 3 kids who love being mini Tigers, and we're so thankful to John and all of you who support our athletics program. Next up is the Heritage Honor Roll. The Heritage Honor Roll was established in 1982 to honor alumni and friends of Dakota Wesleyan University who are committed to the long-term stability of DWU through estate planning. Membership is offered to individuals or couples who have made provisions for Dakota Wesleyan in one or more of the following ways: naming DWU in their will, trust, insurance policy, property, IRA or money market account, or establishing a charitable gift annuity. I'd like to invite Kitty Allen back to the stage.
Great. To date, we have inducted more than 680 individuals have been inducted into the Heritage Roll of Honor, many of whom are here with us tonight. If you have included Dakota Wesleyan in your estate plans or provided for a planned gift in any other way, please stand and let us thank you. We are pleased to have new inductees with us this evening. Would Dennis and Sue Westgard please come to the stage and join President Novak? Sue is a 1978 graduate of Dakota Wesleyan. She and Denny met in Mitchell while Denny was working for Dice Financial. A successful career in the insurance industry took them to Chicago and eventually New York City. Upon retirement, they relocated to Mitchell, are active in the Mitchell Lions Club, and are avid supporters of the DWU Tigers. Thank you, Denny and Sue. We are grateful for the commitment of these faithful supporters to Dakota Wesleyan's future through planned gifts, and we are pleased to officially welcome all of you into the Heritage Roll of Honor. During the past year, Dakota Wesleyan lost valued alumni and friends who remembered the university through their estates. These individuals will long be remembered for their love of DWU and their foundational stewardship to the university. We are privileged to have family members and friends of these faithful heritage members with us tonight. Will Terry and Diana Nebelseck stand, friends of Betty and Wayne Testerman? Would you please stand? Thank you. Wayne Testerman of Huron passed away December 6, 2016. Wayne served in the U.S. Navy before beginning his career as the office manager of the Beadle County ASCS office. He then served as the executive director of the USDA in South Dakota. Wayne and his late wife Betty, who passed away in January 2016, had been active in the Mental Health Association boards for Beadle County and the state of South Dakota. They were involved in the United Methodist Church and Betty had a passion for the United Methodist archives and history. They were avid travelers of the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Thank you, Terry and Diana, for representing the Testerman family tonight. Though their families were unable to join us tonight, we also want to remember Rich Halverson, class of 1959, and Viola Ost, a dear friend of Dakota Wesleyan. The generosity of these dear alumni and friends whose memories we honor this evening will truly benefit Dakota Wesleyan University for generations to come. Thanks be to God for these people, their lives, and their stewardship.
Each year, Dakota Wesleyan recognizes and honors individuals and businesses who have supported the university over time and have reached cumulative giving levels. Dakota Wesleyan began electronically recording these gifts in 1986, so we use that date as the origin for our giving awards. And each summer, when we tabulate the fiscal year as a cumulative giving level, it is always exciting to see who has reached a new milestone. Will Jory Hansen come forward to recognize the Scotchman giving level?
We have several individuals and one organization that have reached the Scotchman giving level, which is cumulative giving of $10,000 or more. I would like to invite the following people to stand as I call your name. Please hold your applause until all have been recognized. Christy Martin, Jim and Patricia McQuiston. Congratulations and thank you to these that have reached the Scotchman giving level this year. Many of you in the audience are past Scotchman recipients, and I invite you to stand and be recognized. The Tumbleweed Award honors members who have reached the $25,000 giving level this past fiscal year. This award is a piece of Mikasa crystal that represents the tumbleweed and the prairie on which Dakota Wesleyan University was founded. When I call your name, please come forward. June and Dinas Briggs, please come forward. June is a 1962 graduate of Dakota Wesleyan. She had a career in music, was a music educator in public schools, gave private piano lessons, and was a church organist and music director at her church for more than 26 years. Dinas worked in academia at North Carolina State University, the University of Arkansas, and New Mexico State University. Thank you, Dinas and June. Dan and Diane Delores. Dan has served as a realtor for Crane Realty for the past 5 years. He previously owned Pepsi-Cola of Mitchell for 27 years. Diane is the owner of Nordby Rental Company. Their passion for the well-being of our student athletes has led them to donate the funds necessary to equip our football team with soft shell Guardian caps. These help minimize the risk of concussions and further protect the well-being of our student athletes. We so generously thank Dan and Diane. Wendy Lamont. Wendy is a 1973 graduate of Dakota Wesleyan. Her brother Glenn also attended DWU. Wendy spent her career as an educator. Currently, she's retired and living in Sioux Falls. She served as a board member of the DWU Alumni Association. We thank you, Wendy. Would Dave Olson of the Sam Weller Family Foundation please come forward? The Sam F. Weller Family Foundation was created in 2014 to honor the legacy of Sam F. Weller and his family. Sam attended DWU and played football in 1921 and 1922. The foundation supports Mitchell area charitable and educational organizations. Thank you, Dave, and the Sam F. Weller Family Foundation. Kurt and Kelly Hart. Kurt and Kelly Hart are no strangers to our campus community. Kurt currently serves as Assistant Director of Athletics after working as Athletic Director from 2009 to 2016. In 2016, he was named Great Plains Athletic Conference Athletic Director of the Year. Kelly spent 25 years as a critical care nurse at Avera Queen of Peace Hospital and is currently clinical informatics RN at Avera. Both their children, John and Amanda, are also DW graduates. Thank you, Kurt and Kelly. As we conclude the tumbleweed portion, I invite all past recipients of the tumbleweed to stand and be recognized. Thank you for your faithful and generous contributions to DWU.
And now for the President's Award. The President's Award honors members who have reached the $50,000 giving level this past fiscal year. The bronze medallion is a replica of one the President of Dakota Wesleyan University wears at all university events requiring academic regalia. At this time, I welcome Kitty Allen forward to recognize the President's Award honorees.
When I call your name, would you please join President Novak at the front? Huron Regional Medical Center, represented by board member Deb Cooler. Huron Regional Medical Center has been a valued supporter and partner of Dakota Wesleyan University, most recently through the Build Huron Nursing Scholarship. The relationship between Huron Regional Medical Center and DWU is of utmost value, as evidenced in the support of the nursing facility in the Glenda K. Corrigan Health Sciences Center. Thank you, Deb, for the faithful support of the Huron Regional Medical Center. Tessier's API Group, represented tonight by Gopal Viez. API Group is the parent company of Tessier's Incorporated, located here in Mitchell. API Group combines the personal attention of small to medium-sized construction companies with the strength of an industry leader to build a safer environment, develop leaders, and bring innovation to the construction industry. API works with both commercial and residential clients and has offices in 5 cities and 3 states. Thank you, Gopal. As we conclude the honoring of our President's Award recipients, I wish to recognize all who are here who've received this award. Please stand if you are a past President's Award recipient.
And now for the Sacrifice or Service Award. The Sacrifice or Service Award is presented to donors who have contributed gifts totaling $100,000 or more to Dakota Wesleyan University. The lucid structure is inset with a hand drawing of one pillar from the campus gateway depicting the university's motto, Sacrifice or Service.
Gary Jesdahl from Plankington. Would you join President Novak at the front of the stage? Gary Jesdahl is a familiar face and name to most of us at DWU and in the surrounding communities for his great generosity. Gary's generosity has blessed the campus community with food from bananas to melons to Dimmick cheese and so much more. In addition, he is active with the Mitchell Area Safe House, the Abbott House, and Goodwill. Gary established the Jesdal Family Scholarship in memory of his parents, Norman and Jean Belzer Jesdal, both of whom attended Dakota Wesleyan University during the Great Depression. In 2015, Gary was named Mitchell's Daily Republic Person of the Year. Congratulations, Gary. As we conclude the honoring of our sacrifice and service recipients, I wish to recognize all who are here who've received this award. Please stand if you are a past recipient of the Sacrifice or Service Award.
The Cross and Flame Award is presented to those whose cumulative giving has reached the level of $250,000. The award is represented by a canvas of the Cross and Flame, the symbol of the United Methodist Church, and a replica of the beautiful stained glass piece designed by the late Minetta Green Millard, class of 1963. The original stained glass once graced the chapel in the former Methodist Hospital and is now displayed in the Arlene Gates Department of Nursing and the Glenda K. Corrigan Health Sciences Center. The Cross and Flame Award pays tribute to the 130-year-old tradition and partnership between the church and Dakota Wesleyan.
I would like to invite Brad Zomer of First National Bank to come and join President Novak at the front of this stage. For 160 years, First National Bank has made it a priority to be connected to the communities in which they operate. First National Bank has given to Dakota Wesleyan consecutively for the last 32 years, supporting student scholarships to Tiger Athletic teammakers. Thank you for your continued support, Brad, through First National Bank. And now I'd like to also recognize everyone in the audience who have been past recipients of the Cross and Flame Award. If you would please stand and let us recognize you. A few of them. Dave. Thanks. Some of you forgot to stand. Yeah, okay. I'm so grateful for everyone and to all of you who have shared your resources with Dakota Wesleyan. I'd like now to welcome to the stage President Novak to conclude our giving awards and introduce you to the 2017 Distinguished Alumni.
We have a number of guests with us tonight that have achieved milestones in giving at Dakota Wesleyan University. Would Tom Clark with Avera Queen of Peace Hospital please stand? Ron and Sheila Gates, and Roger and Vicki Music. Please stand. These individuals have given over $1 million to the university, and their commitments stand out as significant contributions to the student experience. We are especially grateful for the partnership we have with Avera Queen of Peace that supports our nursing and athletic training programs in their investment in the DWU Avera Sport and Wellness Complex. Thank you, Tom. And no night would be without mention if we didn't remember the incredible contributions of Ron and Sheila Gates. Just yesterday, we opened the Ron and Sheila Gates Department of Theater, another symbol of their commitment to the student experience and in particular to the performing arts. They have truly left a transformative impact on this campus. The Arlene Gates Department of Nursing, the Ron and Sheila Gates Department of Music, and now the Ron and Sheila Gates Department of Theater makes them honorary chairs for the Forward Wesleyan campaign. We are truly grateful for all the ways in which you put Wesleyan at the forefront of your giving. Tonight as well, I want to recognize for gifts of over $5 million or more, Glenda and Fritz Corrigan. Could you please stand? Glenda and Fritz have been instrumental in both the sciences and the health and wellness center that was created and opened in February of 2016. They are advocates of a form of education that values personal responsibility, integrity, ethical leadership, and teamwork. Glenda and Fritz are constantly thinking and demonstrating an intellectual curiosity that helps propel the thinking here at Dakota Wesleyan forward. We are truly grateful for the many ways that you make us better. Thank you. And finally, we are richly blessed with Visionary Award recipients who've contributed over $7.5 million to Dakota Wesleyan, Paul and Muffy Christen. Could you please stand? I frequently comment that when I grow up, I hope I can be as thoughtful, insightful, well-read, and connected as Paul and Muffy. Whenever you have an idea, Paul usually has an opportunity and delights in thinking about it, offering perspective, asking you the difficult questions, and then reminding you you need to have a backup plan. Paul and Muffy have been extraordinary in their mentorship and support of me personally, but also of this university. It was about 3 weeks ago that he was on campus, and he looked up at the library conference room at the rows of presidents. He said, "I started here, Amy, in 1949 raising funds." I said, "Paul, you hadn't graduated yet." He said, "Yes, they needed help then too." Paul has known 11 presidents. He proceeded to tell me about his role in almost all 11, except for one that he was particularly disgusted with. I now know what to do to avoid the being disgusted with list. But all of that being said, they have truly made a transformative impact on the student experience here at Dakota Wesleyan, one that will last for many, many years to come. Thank you. At this juncture, we are prepared to present our annual Alumni Awards. As I travel the country, I have an opportunity to meet Dakota Wesleyan University alumni in literally every corner. I love hearing the stories of how they came to you, to DWU, often the shenanigans they pulled. I've learned a lot about things that happened in the tunnels that might have been classified today as TMI, too much information. But all in all, there's a collective sense of family that eclipses the experience they all share. And today, we are prepared to honor 3 individuals whose contributions to humankind have left an indelible impact. The Distinguished Alumni Awards for 2017 represent people who have made an impact in the areas of learning, leadership, faith, and service. We present a silver-fluted bowl to each individual. The shape is representative of a tumbleweed, so significant to the heritage of Dakota Wesleyan University. The bowl itself is symbolic of service to humankind, and one of Dakota Wesleyan's core values and part of our motto, sacrifice or service. The bowl's surface is reflective, thus providing a mirrored image of the individual who serves. Tonight, we are pleased to honor from the Donna, Starr, Christen College of Healthcare, Fitness, and Sciences, the Distinguished Alumni Terry Dolan from the class of 1962. Terry Dolan is a Mitchell native whose expertise in neuroscience and psychology has changed lives around the world. After earning his degree in psychology at Dakota Wesleyan, Terry earned his PhD in psychology, physiology, and neuroscience at the University of Texas, Austin. He then participated in 4 years of postdoctoral research and training at the Center for Neural Sciences at Indiana University. This began a 36-year career in research and science administration. As a neuroscientist, Terry has spent his career studying human development and developmental disabilities. His work included positions at Loyola University in Chicago with the National Science Foundation in Washington and at the University of Erlangen-Nuremberg in Germany. Under his 20-year leadership, the Weizmann Center at the University of Wisconsin-Madison became the largest interdisciplinary research center in the world for children with disabilities, serving thousands. In 2001, the royal family of Saudi Arabia recruited Terry to develop a national research and treatment center on childhood diseases and disabilities. Under Terry's founding directorship, the Prince Salman Center for Disability Research is now the only center of its kind in the Middle East outside of Israel. Terry also successfully navigated the challenge in Islamic culture, which prevents the hiring of women in an environment with male employees, eventually employing nearly 40 women. The experiences of Terry and his family living and interacting in Saudi Arabia were the foundation of his recent book, Children of the Kingdom, Building Genetics and Islam to Save the Children of Saudi Arabia. Concurrent with his career, Terry served as a personal science advisor to Eunice Kennedy Shriver for 15 years, and in the mid-90s, traveled with Sergeant Shriver to the Soviet Union to start the Special Olympics. He has been a member or advisor of the Executive Board of the Kennedy Foundation, the International Special Olympics, and on the Advisory Council for the Air Force Office of Scientific Research. Terry, your work and your life are shining examples of sacrifice or service, and it is my distinct honor to present you with the Distinguished Alumni Award for the Donna, Starr, Christen College of Healthcare, Fitness, and Sciences.
First, I should thank my wife. They helped me up with the steps here. I forgot my cane back at the hotel, and I thought it was better to have her stand by me than fall down. When I listen to those comments, I'm reminded of my favorite quip. And if my parents were to hear what she just read, my father would have been very proud of me, and my mother would have believed it. When I went to Wesleyan and graduated in '62, my mother decided she was going to go back to college. And so she and I started together. And I remember that we signed up with an online course on the TV. And the course was on Saturday mornings. I think it was about 8 o'clock. And I often would not get up in time to hear the lecture that my mother wouldn't miss. And then I would cheat and I'd read her notes after the class. At the end of the semester, I got an A, and my mother got an A minus. And I can tell you, she was unhappy, to say the least. And yesterday, Marianne and I went out to the cemetery here in Mitchell where our parents are buried. And I swear to God, as I approached her grave, there was a little grumbling going on someplace in there. In truth, the year I got my PhD at Texas, which was 6 years after I graduated from here, on that same day, my mother and my sister got degrees from Dakota Wesleyan, and a brother who's on the faculty at Ann Arbor got his degree as well. So that was sort of a family accomplishment that entirely involved Dakota Wesleyan, and we were very proud of it. So I just want to say, one other thing. They showed a picture of John Adair. When I came here, it was quite a surprise. I was a sports writer for the Associated Press, and they wanted me to cover South Dakota for politics and things, and I really wasn't interested in doing that. So at the last minute, I came out here and registered, and I met John Adair. He was on the faculty here in psychology. He got his PhD at the University of Iowa, and he singularly changed my life. He was a brilliant teacher. He was a wonderful person. And I think in one of the things I wrote recently, at the end of the day, after we were so impressed with what he taught us, we would go over to his house at night and go down in the basement and build research paraphernalia that we would then do experiments with in his basement. He was fantastic, and I can tell you because of him singularly, I went on and got a PhD, then I went on into neuroscience, and I got involved in a lot of things in this world, and it was really because of John that I did that. So that's another recognition that I've made for Dakota Wesleyan University because of him. So I thank Dakota Wesleyan for this recognition. As I say, my mother would have believed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it immensely. Glad to be able to honor you.
The 2017 Distinguished Alumni Award from the College of Arts and Humanities is granted to Judge Jim Gritzner, class of 1969, from Des Moines, Iowa. Jim Gritzner came to Dakota Wesleyan University from Spring Valley, Minnesota, to pursue music in the mid-1960s. After he graduated from Dakota Wesleyan University, he earned a master's degree from the University of Northern Iowa and his law degree from Drake University School of Law. Jim practiced as a trial attorney in private practice for 20 years, now serves as a senior United States District Judge for the Southern District of Iowa. Jim was the chief counsel to the Committee on Professional Ethics and Conduct of the Iowa State Bar Association, and he is a recognized authority on legal ethics. President George W. Bush nominated Jim to his judicial position in 2001, and he was confirmed by the United States Senate and entered service in 2002. He became chief judge in 2011, serving in that capacity until taking senior status in 2015. In 2009, Jim was appointed by Chief Justice John Roberts to serve on the Committee on Judicial Conduct and Disability of the Judicial Conference of the United States, where he served for 6 years. Then the Chief Justice appointed him to the Judicial Conference Committee on the Judicial Branch, which works with the U.S. Congress on behalf of the federal judiciary, and this is where he continues to serve. In 2015, Jim was recognized with a special membership in the Order of the Coif for high attainments in the profession of law at the Drake University Law School. He was a member of the Iowa Board of Parole in the early 1980s, and he served on the Dakota Wesleyan University Board of Trustees. Jim has authored and co-authored pieces for the Drake Law Review, as well as dozens of papers presented to professional organizations. He is a member of the 1960s Highlanders, a men's quartet that occasionally still returns to Dakota Wesleyan to sing for special events, including the opening for the Village People at Dakota Wesleyan University's 125th anniversary celebration in 2010. Jim, you are truly a liberal arts success story. You are a talented musician, an exceptional communicator, and a sought-after legal expert. It is our pleasure to honor you as the Distinguished Alumni for the College of Arts and Humanities. Please join me on stage.
Well, thank you very much. I've never gotten a standing ovation here without the rest of the Highlanders. And I appreciate that very much. I am moved and very much appreciate this evening. I'm just a kid from Spring Valley, Minnesota who works for the government. And I very much appreciate all of this attention. It is particularly an honor for me to be in the company of Betty and Terry, who have done so much to help people who have been facing terrible challenges in life. I tremendously respect what you have done. It is an honor to be in your company. Full disclosure, I came here to be a choral director, so it didn't really work out. It is a bit of an embarrassment of riches for me to be recognized here this evening, because this institution and the people here have done so much for me. Before I even arrived, Dr. Bill Bigger picked me to sing with the Highlanders Quartet. Not only was it a wonderful scholarship that came at a very important time for my family, but it was also the beginning of a musical and personal experience that has lasted for decades, and it gave me 3 more brothers and a sister. 2 of those brothers are here tonight. They surprised me by coming here tonight. I also owe a great deal to other people in this institution. Mary Wing not only taught me presentation skills, but she also taught me that it is far more important to focus not on what you mean to say, but on what the people are hearing and understanding when you say it. She was a wonderful woman, wonderful professor, and she is in my heart every day. And Merlin Graham, Professor Graham, was the first person that introduced me to psychology and human behavior, which has been extremely important to me all of these years, and it was my debate partner, Doug Hayne, who was the first person who ever said, you know, you ought to go to law school. And that seems to have worked out. This is a wonderful institution. I had a wonderful educational opportunity here. It prepared me very well for graduate school and for law school and everything beyond. I went to school here with wonderful, warm, fundamentally good people whose influence on me impacts the way that I relate to people even all these years later. And several of them are here tonight. I very much appreciate that. I did not meet my life partner at Dakota Wesleyan. She was down at Simpson College. People make bad choices. But Zoe's love and support has made all the things that Dr. Novak mentioned possible. And so I want to recognize her as well. One last thing. One of the first times that the Highlanders ever performed with me in the group, we sang at what was a Legacy Banquet. And we sang an old jazz song called There'll Be Some Changes Made. And we sang a lyric that said, nobody wants you when you're old and gray. Now that we are old and gray, we apologize. Thank you.
The 2017 Distinguished Alumni Award recipient from the College of Leadership and Public Service is Betty Oldenkamp, class of '82 from Sioux Falls. Like many Dakota Wesleyan University students, Betty Oldenkamp came to DWU from a small South Dakota town. Today, as the president and CEO of Lutheran Social Services, her work is positively impacting fellow South Dakotans across the state. In fact, last year, Lutheran Social Services, under Betty's leadership, served well over 50,000 people in the state of South Dakota. Her first encounter with DWU was through theater professor Daryl Patton, who was judging an oral interp contest in which she was competing. That connection influenced Betty's decision to attend Dakota Wesleyan to pursue speech and theater. Ultimately, Betty's interests shifted to psychology and sociology, which was her first step in a successful career serving vulnerable populations. The first years of Betty's career were in direct services, working at the Adjustment Training Center in Pierre, and then as a residential supervisor in Madison. She was promoted within the organization and then was hired by the South Dakota Department of Human Services in the Division of Developmental Disabilities, where she eventually became the director. In 1997, Betty became the director of the Division of Mental Health within the Human Services Department, overseeing 11 community mental health centers that provided services for about 14,000 people. In 2001, then Governor Bill Janklow appointed Betty Cabinet Secretary for the South Dakota Department of Human Services, a position she held until 2006, when she joined Lutheran Social Services. Over the past 11 years, Betty has led tremendous change in the organization. The list of LSS services reaches all ages, from youth to the elderly, from adoption services to pregnancy counseling, from fatherhood and reentry counseling for incarcerated men to resettlement services for new Americans, as well as disaster response, foster care, youth mentoring services, and more. Betty twice received the Governor's Award for Employee Excellence. Her additional awards include the Distinguished Service Award from the Rocky Mountain Council of Community Mental Health Centers and the Larry Oppold Memorial Award from the Sioux Empire United Way. She serves on the boards of the Sioux Falls Development Foundation, Lutheran Services in America, and the Dakota Wesleyan University Board of Trustees. Betty, you show true leadership every day by touching the lives of vulnerable individuals across our state. It is my honor to present you someone who has modeled sacrifice or service each and every day of your life with the Distinguished Alumni Award representing the College of Leadership and Public Service.
Thank you. I had about a 15-minute speech ready. No, not at all. It is a great privilege and honor to receive this. Any of you that know me at all, I'll get it back together. Know that I'm emotional, surprise, and I am passionate about the work that I am blessed to do. I'd have done fine if I wouldn't have sent you the pictures of my mom.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Anyhow, This is just truly a tremendous place. The experience, not just as a student, but the privilege I have had in the years since then, in my time back on campus, to serve on the alumni board, the board of trustees, to be involved in many, many things over the years. It's just incredible to step back on campus and to be able to see what Dr. Novak talked about earlier with the transformation of lives. And I think that happens in small ways. Maybe for some, it's a big aha moment. But I think for most, it is that touch on a day-to-day basis. It's the acceptance. It's the support. It's the challenge that's put before you. It's that opportunity to try things you never thought you'd do, and to learn from that experience, to grow from that experience, to have that confidence to step forward and to embrace life, to become a better person based on the foundation that was given to you here at Wesleyan. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I'm so proud of you. Appreciate it. Yes, absolutely. I'm the same way. Let me get you your bag here.
Friends, thank you for joining us for this wonderful evening. There are many events yet to come this weekend. Please join us tomorrow for the parade at 10 a.m. There's also activities at the football game, including food that will be available to all of you. But tomorrow night, following the football game, we invite all of our alum to Blue and White Unite at the Highland Conference Center. Join us as we come together across the decades to celebrate what it means to be a family here at Dakota Wesleyan. There's an ancient Chinese proverb that says, for every 1,000-mile journey, we must begin with the first step. And tonight, we heard about the first step that many of our distinguished alum took to come to Wesleyan, and the importance of that first step in a journey that led to transformation, both of themselves personally and of hundreds and thousands of lives across our world. It is a privilege as a university to be a place where that transformation can happen. Thank you to all of you who are making a greater Wesleyan possible, and we are excited to have you join us as we forward this momentum to strengthen the student experience, to continue to create transformation in the lives of our students, and to build the next generation of leaders equipped for lives of continual learning, of innovative learning, of bold leadership, of authentic faith exploration, and of genuine commitment to being servants in our world. At this time, since Jim mentioned it, I'd like to ask those who are here from the Highlanders group of the 1960s, Jim Gritzner, Jim McQuiston, and Don Coates to join me on stage as we sing The Scotchman. Now, I'm told that Kitty asked Jim if he might be open to joining me on stage. And Jim said, well, can she carry a tune? Who knew, right? I met my husband in a choir, too. Anyway, come on up. We will have the former Scotchman, or we might say the first Scotchman, lead our first Highlanders, let me say that, lead our Scotchman tonight. So, you want to come down here? Perfect. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with this ritual, We need you to stand. We're going to sing the first verse. Then we're going to hum the second verse. And they're going to do it in like 4-part harmony. I hear it already, so I'm just going to stand back.
Show me the Scotchman who doesn't love the thistle. Show me the Englishman who doesn't love the rose. Show me the true-hearted son of old Wesleyan who doesn't love the spot where the tumbleweed grows.
Thank you and enjoy your evening.